Hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Wolf.
Christopher Hoisington, and we're here with Chris Wagner at his home. And this is Ruth. She's a sweet dog. She's very
Lo
quiet.
and Mo should be around here. Here's
Well,
Lo.
Lo's on the couch back there. I don't know.
On the couch.
You can see she's a tiny little kitty.
Yeah.
There she is.
Okay.
Hi, baby.
Your star.
Very angry that no one's petting her. And
So, Chris Wagner,
hello.
tell us about yourself. Give us a little brief bio.
Well, I'm a sculptor, originally from Kentucky. I'm predominantly working wood, so I'm working in refurbished wood most of the time. So I carve the local woods that we find around here, usually stuff that's pulled out of buildings. So it's a lot of Doug fir and a lot of cedar, which are horrible woods to carve, but have a lot of character to them. You know, like,
Interesting.
yeah.
Why are they
that's
bad?
what
Are
it
they
is.
just because they're too hard?
Well, they're made
No.
for structural purposes. I mean, they're used for structural purposes, and they're usually have really long, splintery grain, and they're soft woods. So as you're cutting into them, you have to be aware of all kinds of things. You have to be aware of like the way the grain is going. Like when you're working in like a good hardwood, like if you're working in like a maple or a pear or a walnut, the grain is so densely packed, you don't have to pay attention to the grain as much. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but you have to, and you can have duller tools working in hardwoods.
Huh.
But when you're working in softwoods, you have to sharpen your tools all the time, or you end up pushing the grain or like just breaking the grain
And the
apart.
grain in softwood is really inconsistent. There'll be hard spots and soft spots, and your knife might just slip easily through a soft spot and then
Yeah.
get hung up on the little hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard to, and with hardwood you can really get a really fine.
Yeah,
pattern.
and a lot of the softwoods are most of the trees that are used with softwoods have so many knots in them. So there's knots all throughout them. So you end up being caught constantly with knots.
That's low.
Thanks for joining us, Lo.
Probably not supposed to be on the table.
Oh, she hops on the table all the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Probably not supposed to eat that plant right there.
Investigating.
She wanted to be more of a star than she was.
Yeah, I'll try to control the
So
kitty.
when did you decide you were going to be an artist when you grew up?
Well, I went to school actually in undergrad to be a Baptist minister. I grew up extremely conservative and came from a very conservative background in Kentucky. Wow. And I completely fell away from that in college, like so many people do. They go to college, learn a little bit, and then fall away from it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar story with you?
Similar story.
I transferred out of Multnomah Bible School.
Oh, yeah?
Into Portland State 2 years ago. Yeah, I was studying the Bible.
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent a year as a philosophy, then a religion major, and at the same time that I was having my kind of crisis of faith, as people like to say, the entire like falling away from religion, I was taking my first sculpture class as an elective, and I just fell in love with working with my hands, and it kind of allowed me to like channel all the energies that I had for religion. As religion fell away from me, I was able to channel that into something else, and it happened to be art. So I just like fed all that passion that I had with was going to be a minister into being an artist.
So then you got a bachelor's in what in the end?
I got a bachelor's in art history and sculpture. So not a bachelor's of fine arts, just a bachelor of arts. But yeah. It was good, and it was good enough to get me into grad school, where I went to grad school at Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania, and I got a fine arts degree in sculpture there. And I've been working as a professional sculptor ever since.
What brought you to Portland?
It's an amazing city. Yeah,
yes, it sure fucking is.
My wife basically did one of her rotations. She's an occupational therapist, and she did one of her rotations at OHSU. And I came out here with her for the summer, and we knew we wanted to move out west because, like, when we lived in, we've been together forever, all through college and everything. And when we were applying to grad school, we only applied north because we knew we wanted to experience the north, bitter winters and everything. So we only applied to grad schools north, and then we went up to Erie, Pennsylvania, where we went to grad school. Lots of snow, beautiful. But then we knew we wanted to go west after that. So then we, were looking in cities out here, and she did one of her rotations out here, and we fell in love with the area. And moved out here. Eventually, we'll leave the area again and go somewhere else because we want to farm. So. Portland's
my
great,
brother
but
lives
no
in Idaho, but he got accepted into an aerospace engineering college in Florida.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the next place that I move will probably be Florida, so I can be close to my brother.
Dear Lord. I hate Florida.
Have you been
You
to
hate
Florida?
Florida?
Oh gosh, yeah,
I've never
you hear
been to
Florida all the
Florida,
time.
no.
No offense to people in Florida, but yeah, I hate flat states, and it's so flat. It's so flat, and the soil's so sandy.
I'm from
You grew up in
Nebraska. I'm from Nebraska,
Okay.
but I tell people Nebraska is a shitty state, except it has skies.
Sorry, Nebraskans.
Skies like you wouldn't believe because they're so wide open, and you just get
Yeah,
wide open, beautiful colors, and I mean the landscape's pretty shitty for the most part.
at some point, I wanted to live in a state like that just for a very temporary, like 3-month time period, and then get out immediately.
Yeah,
But I feel like I need to experience that at some
Nebraska would
point.
be a great place
Yeah.
to get.
I
your
applied to an
fill.
artist residency there. I did not receive it, but I did apply to an artist residency
Lucky
there.
duck.
Yeah, but well, that was like a 2-month stint or something like that. So I think I could have survived it for that. I mean, I grew up in Kentucky, rural Kentucky. So I mean, Kentucky. I love Kentucky, but you know, it's definitely a completely different mindset than what I get here. You know, there's a reason why we ended up on the West Coast. Was, you know, like our like approach to life was completely different from what we were seeing from a lot of things back east, and specifically back in the South.
That was what I finally decided was the most important. Is there's a mentality in areas. You know, I lived in LA for 17 years, and there was a way of thinking there. There's a way of life that exists down there, and people have to participate in it in order to exist there. And there's a way of life here too, and the weather contributes to it. The traffic patterns contributes to it. People's attitudes contribute to it, and it all creates this community, you know. And I think once I finally moved back up here, you know, and I was here for a few years, I realized, you know, it's more important to have the good mentality than to have the nice space, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it's almost a cop-out a little bit, just because instead of trying to change the minds of the people around me, or trying to, like, you know, build a community of like-minded people in a place that's kind of hostile to the way I thought, I just moved to the place where everyone agreed with me.
Dude, I always said that I was such a weirdo in Nebraska, so I moved.
Yeah.
I mean, the motto in Portland is keep Portland weird, so I moved where all the weird people go.
Yeah.
I was like, that place sounds perfect for me.
But
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah, Portland is awesome. I love
Portland
it. For that.
is generally really open-minded. So let's get back to your artwork.
I wanted to say,
Okay.
I found you by searching on Portland Open Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about your experience with Portland Open Studios?
Oh, it's awesome.
You got featured. You're on, like, I searched Portland artists. The very first website that came up was Portland Open Studios. So I clicked on that, and then I was going through, and like, not everybody has contact information, and not everybody, like, was realistic to get, like, they had really big stuff, so I didn't think that we could get them into our studio at our home. But, like, I was trying to get the best artists that we could, and then I came across you. So I contacted you,
Yeah.
and we're very, 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 very impressed with your work.
Well, we were impressed when we saw it on the Portland, what is it again?
Portland Open Studios.
Portland
Yeah.
Open
Yeah,
Studios.
he's one of the featured artists on the front page.
Yeah, you should check that. There's a lot of artists
it's
in
amazing.
there, but
yeah, tons of
we
artists.
saw,
But
and
There's 100 every year, and there's
tell us a
rotating.
little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, well, the work that I create, I work with a figure most of the time. I don't know if we wanted to bring any of these guys into
Yeah,
the
let's
frame.
take a look at something while you talk about
Yeah.
it, at least.
So
I'm gonna just turn this around.
Yeah, so
and-
that's one of my most recent pieces. He's carved from a solid block of wood, as you can see.
Yeah, the arm, you can see the wood on the
So
arm.
you can see the, like, grain, and, like, I work with all refurbished wood. So.
Refurbished wood means...
So it's all wood from another source. So like these are all old cedar beams that I'm working from here. So this is these are two cedar beams that I laminated together, and then from.
where did you get the paint?
Oh, this is I make my own paint.
You make your own
Yeah,
paint.
so I use milk paint. So I carve, like, so basically I carve the form out, and then I use a milk paint, which is a really old style of paint. If you're familiar with, like, the red of like old barns and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
the really old traditional reds and the old whites that you see in old farmhouses, or the blacks that you see in old farmhouses, those were the old pigments that you just had available. So they were using milk paints in those like situations usually, because the casein, the proteins in milk, adds as functions as a good binding agent for paint.
Yeah.
So